Should you buy the iPhone 17? Well, to make your mind up, let's delve into everything we know from major battery upgrades to bold new design changes and beyond. First up, the biggest news right now comes from a Chinese regulatory database, which has confirmed the battery capacities for all four models, and there's a headline here guys: the 17 Pro Max is officially set to break the 5,000 mAh barrier for the first time ever. At 5,088 mAh, this is a near 8% increase compared to 16 Pro Max, and it should translate into some serious gains when it comes to endurance. The regular 17 is going to be around 3,600 mAh, and the 17 Pro is going to be 4,000 mAh. But the 17 Air is what's most interesting because the ultra-thin 17 is reportedly going to have a battery just over 3,000 mAh, smaller than the others, but this will be the only 17 with the C1 modem, which could help with efficiency. However, here's the twist: eSIM-only models have slightly larger batteries than their SIM tray counterparts. So unlike in previous years, Apple's actually going to be utilizing the free space by giving us a larger battery. So hopefully the UK goes eSIM only, because I would much rather have a bigger battery over the physical SIM tray. Now onto design. After months of speculation, Mark Gurman's confirmed the 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max will feature a new cutout area on the lower 2/3 of the back, a rounded rectangle glass dedicated to MagSafe and Qi wireless charging. That's why these models will mix aluminium and glass. Aluminium for weight savings and heat dissipation, and glass where charging cords need to work. And then there's the dynamic island. A last minute leak claims the pill-shaped cutout on the Pro models could shrink from 2 cm wide to 1.5 cm thanks to more compact Face ID sensors. I'm not sure about this though, it doesn't come from a credible source. Before we move beyond iPhones, if you're enjoying these last minute leaks, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're breaking down every single Apple announcement live this week, and you don't want to miss it. Anyway, moving to AirPods Pro 3, Minchiko's confirmed they're debuting at the September event, and the standout feature is going to be heart rate monitoring, borrowed from the Powerbeats Pro 2. It works by using LED optical sensors to track blood flow, tying into the health app and fitness integration. Beyond that, expect a smaller charging case, improved sound, and stronger noise cancellation. There could also be a second version that launches next year with an infrared camera, but I'm not sure about that. Why would Apple have two different versions of AirPods Pro? I know there's two different versions of the regular AirPods, but not every pair of AirPods needs separate versions. Finally, what else could sneak into this event? Gurman's teased that several other products are coming soon, from a new Apple TV with an A17 Pro chipset and better Wi-Fi, to a refreshed HomePod mini with improved sound and Apple Intelligence support, to an AirTag with triple the range. Even the iPad Pro and Vision Pro on the update list, though those are more likely to come in October. It's unlikely Apple's going to pack all of these into the September event, but don't be surprised if one or two make an appearance. Back to the iPhone, Apple isn't just refreshing the iPhone 17 this year, they're rethinking the accessories as well. Cases are getting a complete overhaul, and for the first time ever, Apple is introducing a brand new crossbody strap with a magnetic twist, adding bold new colors, whispers of reverse wireless charging, and a potential camera breakthrough, and the iPhone 17 launch is shaping up to be one of the more exciting refreshes in years. And let's actually start with accessories this time, because Apple looks to shake things up in ways that go beyond just cases. According to Liko Majumbu, Apple's preparing an entirely new crossbody strap accessory for the iPhone 17 series. Now this isn't your typical strap with hooks and clips, instead it reportedly features a flexible metal core that makes it magnetic along its entire length. At the ends, rings polarized in opposite directions snap shut and hold it together. In other words, it's just magnets doing all the work. Though I'm not exactly sure how secure that's going to be. I mean, I live in London, with phone snatchings becoming rampant now, shouldn't we need something more secure than magnets to keep this in place? Anyway, early samples are apparently made from woven nylon, a lot like the smart loop bands for the Apple Watch, which makes sense since Apple already has experience with that material. A silicone version could be on the way, offering a more minimalist look. What's more interesting is that while the crossbody strap is designed primarily for Apple's own iPhone 17 cases, it could also be compatible with the upcoming AirPods Pro 3 as well, since do remember AirPods Pro 2 already come with a lanyard hole. Production is said to have already started, which means this could be available on day one of the iPhone 17 launch, and I'm probably not buying one because I don't care too much about straps, but I read that such accessories are popular in parts of Asia, so I guess there's a market for this. That ties neatly into cases because Apple seems to be rethinking its whole approach there too. Majumbu says Apple's switching to a new liquid silicone lineup for the iPhone 17 series. The name might sound like marketing fluff, and that's because it kinda is. These are essentially the same old silicone cases Apple's been selling for years, but they're now going to include a lanyard cutout for the crossbody strap. The case will come in a range of colours like deep orange, pale orange, grass green, celadon, fog purple, grey blue, dark blue and midnight black. Interestingly, Apple's tested even more colors internally, shades like carambola, tannin, and late green, but those did not make the launch lineup. If history is any guide, they'll probably appear later as mid-cycle seasonal updates. Anyway, back to cases. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has suggested Apple might even release a bumper case for the 17 Air. If you remember the iPhone 4 days, bumper cases were essentially just edge protectors that left the back exposed. With the 17 Air expected to be ultra thin, we're talking 5 to 6 millimeters, a bumper makes perfect sense. A standard case would bulk it up too much, but a bumper preserves the thin profile while adding just enough protection. Gurman has also hinted at a possible battery case, which is ironic given that thinness is the Air's biggest selling point, and you'll have to use a bulky battery case if you want to make it last a full day of usage. Here's my personal take on these accessories. Apple's cases look sleek, sure, but I still struggle to justify the price. Third-party options like Spigen or ESR give you much better protection and way better value for money. That said, Apple clearly wants their accessories to be part of the lifestyle pitch. Bright colors, straps, bumpers, lanyards, and if you're deep into the ecosystem, there's definitely an appeal in having everything match. I, however, don't care. Now let's switch gears and talk features, starting with one of the most anticipated, reverse wireless charging. This is a rumor that's been circling for years, but multiple leakers now claim it's finally happening with the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. Imagine topping up your AirPods case by placing it on the back of your iPhone. That would be pretty great. Apple's already toyed with this idea. The MagSafe battery pack, for example, could receive power back from the iPhone when plugged in, and with USB-C on the iPhone 15, you could reverse charge small accessories at up to 4.5 watts. But this would be the first time true wireless reverse charging makes its way to iOS. If Apple does roll it out this year, I expect them to market it heavily around convenience, fewer chargers, fewer cables, and more freedom to top up your accessories directly from your phone. And with rivals like Samsung already doing this, Apple's probably feeling the pressure to catch up. Now let's talk about cameras. One of the biggest upgrades could be reserved for the 17 Pro Max. According to Leaker Instant Digital, Apple's testing a 40MP telephoto lens with true variable zoom, meaning it could seamlessly move between 5x and 8x optical zoom. Right now, the 16 Pro Max caps out 5x with a fixed focal length. If Apple delivers true variable zoom, it could finally put them on equal footing or even slightly ahead of Samsung's periscope cameras. And this isn't just speculation, leaked internal images back this up as well. The camera bump is noticeably larger this year, and that extra space could house the moving lens components required for variable zoom. A genuine multifocal telephoto lens inside the iPhone would be a massive leap forward, giving Apple one of the most advanced zoom systems on the market. While we're on the internals, let's dive into another leak that hasn't gotten enough attention, the battery redesign. Leaked images show the 17 Pro Max packing a metal and covered battery, a continuation of what we saw first with the 16 Pro. This isn't just cosmetic, the metal casing helps dissipate heat more effectively, which pairs perfectly with rumors of improved cooling systems. Imagine a possible vapor chamber. For years, Android flagships have used this method to handle heat. Apple adopting it now signals they're finally tackling thermal throttling and heat management more seriously. The battery also ties into easy repairability. Apple's reportedly introducing a new adhesive removal system where a low voltage current can release the battery glue, making replacements much simpler. With EU regulations pushing for user replaceable batteries, Apple had to evolve, and the iPhone 17 may be the first step in that direction. Now let's talk about design. Externally, the 17 lineup won't be radically different, dynamic island, USB-C, and a familiar overall shape, but there are two differences worth calling out. First are the thinner bezels across the entire range, not just the Pros. Second, and this is a Pro exclusive, a new anti-reflective display layer similar to Gorilla Glass armor on Samsung's Galaxy devices. This should make a huge difference outdoors, where reflections usually wash out the screen. Pair that with brighter displays and the already great Pro Motion refresh rate, and Apple's screen quality should be second to none this year. Now, storage and pricing. One of the biggest complaints about the 16 Pro series was base storage. 128 gigs was just not enough in 2024. This year, Apple seems to be fixing it. Multiple reports suggest the 17 Pro and Pro Max will start 256 gigs, finally making that the baseline. The trade-off? A $50 price increase across the boards. That means $849 for the iPhone 17, $949 for the Air, $1049 for the Pro, and $1249 for the Pro Max. Not cheap, but here's the silver lining. A 256 gig Pro at $1049 is actually cheaper than buying a 256 gig Pro today, which costs $1099. So in a way, Apple's streamlining while softening the blow of rising prices. Now colors, because let's be honest, colors sell iPhones. The iPhone 17 Pro models are expected to come in black, white, dark blue, grey, and a striking orange shade that could be this year's hero colour. The 17L, on the other hand, is set to debut in a very pale light blue. almost white in certain lighting, which likely will be its poster color in the marketing. The Pro phones moving to aluminium means Apple has more flexibility with finishes, so expect more vibrant shades overall. And here's a few other last minute tidbits I saw floating around. Number one, Mark Gurman says AirPods Pro 3 is not going to have big improvements in terms of audio or noise cancellation. That's a bit surprising. Apple's apparently focused on the health upgrades and a slimmer case and refined fit. Also, last minute iPhone 17 leaks from Weibo suggest the ultra thin 17 Air may have a limited release or no release at all in China because it's eSIM only. There's not going to be a variant with a physical SIM card slot, and in China you need a physical SIM card slot. eSIM availability is very limited there, and so that might be an issue for the 17 Air. Also, Apple's going to make the 17 Pro Max 5% thicker to fit in a larger battery. On top of this, Gurman says orange and blue are going to be the flagship colors with the 17 Pro, and we have demo models showing us how these colors could look, and we see the blue is very similar to Pacific Blue, and the orange is much more vivid. Also, the 17 Air and base 17 have some nice finishes. And yeah, overall, I'm a fan of these colors. There were also rumors about a liquid glass rainbow color, but I don't think that's going to materialize. So let's pull this all together. The 17 Pro models are about refinement, a variable zoom telephoto, better thermals, reverse wireless charging, brighter colors, and new accessory support like the Crossbody Strap. The 17 Air is Apple's sleek alternative, thinner than ever with unique bumper cases, a pale blue finish, and a clear lifestyle first positioning. Would you actually use a crossbody strap with your iPhone, or is that just not your thing? Is reverse wireless charging the feature that could make you upgrade, or are you more tempted by the new colors? Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe now. I'll be covering the Apple event in full with deep dives into everything Apple announces.